The Labour politicians running this country are so corrupt, so self-centred, and so out of touch with the people of this country that Keir Starmer has had to write his cabinet ministers a letter telling them to stop looking down on working class people. I'm not making this up. The letter that he wrote has been leaked and has been revealed for us all to see. And I want to show you what Andrea Jenkyns from the Reform Party had to say about this letter when speaking to GB News yesterday. Let's take a listen.
Return to our discussion on the Prime Minister's leaked letter, and we are going to go and talk to Reform UK mayoral candidate Dame Andrea Jenkyns. Andrea, thank you very much for joining us today. Right, leaked letter. This is what the working class are, and you're not racist if you are worried about immigration. This is what Keir Starmer finds he had to tell his cabinet just in case they weren't quite sure. What do you make of it?
Look, it's been doing this fake patriotism since even before the election, when they made sure that all their graphics had the union flag on. I mean, we know his heart is with the EU flag, don't we, Dawn? Yep. Look at what's happened the last 24 hours. Now, I agree with what you say. You know, why I'm from a working class background, and, you know, why do they need explaining to them? But I think it's just, they're just doing this for political reasons, Dawn, because they didn't care about the working class when they raised concerns of immigration during the riots and there was locking people up for social media posts. So I think it's empty promises. This is just them trying to not lose votes, because don't forget, in a few weeks' time, we'll be going into Perda, about 3 or 4 weeks' time, and we're going into the local elections. So I think this is him trying to save face, make out that something is not. And he doesn't care about immigration. He's opening the doors to EU students now.
So there we go. And Andrea Jenkyns, she makes a very important point there about the local elections we have coming up. Keir Starmer is absolutely panicking right now because he is seeing Reform topping poll after poll after poll. We've had 2 YouGov polls in a row now put Reform ahead of both Labour and the Tories. And it seems like Keir Starmer, after, over 7 months in power, doing absolutely nothing, is now freaking out, thinking, God, these local elections could be embarrassing because we've been here for 7 months, we've sat on our asses, we've done nothing. All they've really done in terms of immigration is they have deported a handful of people and boasted about it. But we all know these were not illegal migrants. These were people who, basically they came here legally. Some of them had overstayed their visas, mostly, good people who had come to the country to work hard on appropriate visa and come legally, and they've offered them some cash to go back home, and they've chosen to go back home. That's not really the kind of deportations that this country is looking for. People are concerned about illegal migration, and we're seeing that the numbers just keep going up. The small boats just keep coming in. We've had 25,000 people come by a small boat since Keir Starmer took office. So I guess that puts us on track to end up with maybe around 50,000 of them coming via a small boat over the course of a year. Just a reminder, the worst that we had it was 45,000 a year, but Rishi Sunak was able to bring that down to 30,000 after a deal with the Albanians. Looks like we are back to where we started. Also, the Home Office is allowing 50 relatives of refugees to come in each day to this country. That works out another extra 18,000 people per year coming in the country. It just doesn't stop, and they're freaking out because Reform are going up in the polls. So they've sent us a few videos of the Home Office going and finding people who shouldn't be in the country, being like, oh look, we're the tough guys. Okay, no one's buying it. Reform keep going up and up in the polls. So he's panicking. He's put out this letter to his cabinet office, to his cabinet, and he has said you need to stop looking down on working class people, and he specifically also talked about immigration and said that we need to take seriously constituents' concerns about immigration. He's having to tell his cabinet, you need to do this, because the people that are in his cabinet are not taking immigration seriously. They think it's this lovely thing, helping people from across the world. They do not see the downsides because they live in a bubble, okay? Some of these politicians, okay, they may have been working class at the beginning of their life, right? But they live in their Westminster bubble. At the time now when immigration is starting to hit people hard, people who are working class now are really, really struggling. People cannot get NHS appointments. Working class people, they don't have the money for private healthcare. Also, healthcare is way better in London, so those living in their little Westminster bubble, I'm sure, get treated far better. I wouldn't be surprised if the state pays for private healthcare for them. I don't know how it works for these politicians, what benefits they get in that respect, but they are out of touch. These people, they get help with so much of their costs. Politicians, they are not somebody earning minimum wage who's unable to pay the rent and put a roof over their head, because we've had immigration absolutely sky high in this country. That's just completely screwed over our housing market. We haven't built enough either, so I'm not saying that's the only thing, but it's definitely exacerbated the problem massively. Labour say they're going to build more homes, but then we hear, well, immigration, even if we go with the number that Labour have suggested we're going to have coming in this country, 5 out of 7 of those new homes will probably be going to immigrants. Just the future's not looking bright under Labour, because they are completely out of touch with what the people in this country genuinely care about. This is, as Andrea Jenkyns pointed out there, when we had the riots, rather than Keir Starmer saying, look, I don't condone rioting, but I need to recognise why this has happened, and it's because people in this country have got genuine concerns about immigration that haven't been listened to. He just called them far-right thugs. He didn't get it, he didn't care, and now he's freaking out and pretending like he does get it. But I'm sorry, it's just too little too late. And let's have a look at what Richard Tice had to say in response to the letter. He said, quite frankly, it's concerning that the Prime Minister has to tell his own cabinet to stop looking down on working class voters and take immigration seriously. If this doesn't show the true colours of Labour, I don't know what does. Once again, Labour plan to use smears and lies to stop the rise of reform. We know this won't work. The British people have already had enough of broken promises by Labour and now want real change in the form of reform. We are coming for Labour. Yes, it seems like in that letter, it does seem as though the Labour Party, or Keir Starmer, is insinuating that reform are now their biggest threat. Not the Tories, but reform. Reform are topping the polls. The Reform Party, they're not just coming for Tory voters and trying to switch them. They are coming for Labour voters as well. And Reform Party, they, if you ask me, they seem much more in touch with the working class than the Labour Party at the moment. The Labour Party, before the general election, they said, we're different, politics is changing, we're going to get rid of the old, elites, the sleazy ones, the sleazy Tories, the corrupt ones, and we're good people, working class people who are working for you. Very quickly, that narrative completely fell apart. Straight after they get into office, we have that huge Lord Ali scandal about all of the freebies that they were receiving. So, that lie was revealed very, very quickly. People have had enough, but we'll see what happens at the elections in the local elections in May. We will see if Keir Starmer is able to do anything to actually turn the ship around and win some people back who have been disillusioned by him. Maybe he will be able to get his ducks in order by telling his cabinet to get in line, but I think I'm with Richard Tice on this one. I think no matter what he does, people have seen the true colours of the Labour Party now. Anyway, I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you press subscribe if you haven't already.